All right, folks. Welcome to this week's Forex commentary, and happy New Month and happy Easter. Now, before I start today's production, I wanted to say a friend of mine reached out to me, and he's working on a journaling, um, you know, tool where traders can journal, their experiences during the week and stuff. And I'm not done testing it. In fact, I have not given him any feedbacks yet. But I wanted to say I'm gonna put the link on the description below, and I want anyone listening to check his work out. He's just like building it, so he's interested in getting people to test it before he can roll it out. It's not any paid partnership. He's my friend, right? He's my friend, and I want to do it for him, right? And he needs people to test so they can get data off of whatever people are testing, and they can improve on the solutions they are providing and all of that. And it's AI supported, and it has a few perks and stuff like that. And I'm gonna link it in the description, so if you're interested, just you find it. I'm gonna label it and stuff, and you can you know get a very good journaling experience. I mean, for a start, it's beautiful, right? And it's amazing where he's taking it to, and I just want him to have all that he needs, or all that he wants to make it better. So this is dollar index. This is monthly time frame, and the reason why I'm pulling up the monthly time frame is because this is the first commentary for April's trading, and we want to look at it from the monthly chart. So last week I said a few things. In fact, I said many things, and if you haven't seen last week's commentary, I think you should look at it, because I've been making a lot of references from last week's commentary. The first one would be, we talked about the fact that DXY could stay above this consecutive down close candle, which is the change in the staking delivery, and the markets could make a retest of this level and expand towards this objective. Now, I also said a few things like if we were going to qualify, long-term buys, that's 101977. Dollar index has to be trading above this level of resistance, because if you look closely, we are stuck again between two ranges, two levels of resistance and support. That's the weekly time frame breaker and this volume imbalance, or the bearish order block. And whenever we're stuck between two ranges, ideally you want to see the market stay in consolidation, except if the market can go through either of these levels, right? Now, in my head, we're still bullish on dollar index, and we have dollar index keying off of support on the monthly time frame, and on the weekly time frame, it's clear why we are still in consolidation. And one of the things we talked about last week was, I said when DXY trades above this high, I do not know what dollar index is likely to do, and we could see them return into the monthly order block. So let me have this monthly order block here. So you're gonna say, and markets are likely to return into the monthly order block, and that's exactly what dollar index did. Now, during the week, I was looking at DXY. I was looking at this high here again, this one. I was thinking that could there be a chance DXY returns into this breakaway gap, because this is not out of sight, because since we're still within the range, DXY could absolutely do whatever it wants to do. I mean, DXY could still run above this high and return back into the range, because all of this is building liquidity for sell side, right? And since we're not trading above this level here on the weekly time frame, let me have it here so you can see clearly. Since we're not trading above this level, whatever sell side dollar index has to go, I think it's very possible they still trade into sell side. Now, last week I didn't place any trade at all, and reasons were clear. I missed Monday's trading. I wasn't going to trade on Monday, and as soon as market met objective, I was willing to wait, and market started trading early in London, I guess, but I completely missed the trade. I wasn't paying attention to. I just wanted to wait to see what happened, and I saw that there was actually set up, SMT between dollar index. Dollar index made a new high, and if you look at euro failed to make a new low, and by the end of this trading Wednesday, I couldn't get a chance for a setup because market expanded overnight, and as soon as they trade into discount level again, the breaker, and low probability again because objective has been met, they return into the breaker, they return into discount. We want to wait because they're likely to return into the fair value gap, and Thursday, low probability for sell continuation, and markets were respecting levels again. So these types of price action, it's not the kind of markets where I'm thinking quickly because I spent a lot of time recently, you know, doing short-term trades, swing trades. So to day trade off of levels. Apparently, I do not have that speed to make quick decisions. So this is not my type of market, and I'm okay with being on the sidelines. I'm okay with being right about my analysis because already it's very clear that I'm getting in sync with this whole consolidation and profiles, and but I'm not yet willing to put money on the line. That's the only thing I've not been doing. I'm willing to put money on the line, and hopefully that changes this week because there isn't so much I can say for this week because how we validate our weekly buys is to simply look at the previous weekly candle, right? And if we look at last week's candle, it didn't give any information that could lean bullish for the XY, except if we have a low here, we have a high here, and we have a low here. So we have a swing low here form on this breaker, right? So there's a chance that next week's candle trade into the previous weekly high. There's a chance that happens, right? But there's also a chance that since this week's candle closed indecisive after trading into this level here and taking our buy side liquidity, we could see this week reach for the previous weekly low. At least that's as far as I can think. I'm not sure if they have interest in the breakaway gap. I'm not sure. There isn't anything really to define if there is any interest to reach for the breakaway gap. For me, if you look at bodies of the candlesticks, you'd say that okay, they're leaning bullish, but in consolidation, okay, because the markets are absolutely in consolidation, and we want to see the markets draw into 101977, but it's looking it's the price action isn't so good. It's terrible, all right, and I don't do well in consolidation, especially executing in consolidation. So I'd rather just not take any trade at all. That's if I can. That's if the markets don't allow me into taking any trades whatsoever. But the only way we can qualify longs on DXY, like if we're sure that dollar index wants to reach for 101977, because for now we're in consolidation, and I can predict that the markets are going to break out of consolidation this week. Now, in fact, the markets can absolutely break out of consolidation this week, but I don't know. All right, we need candlesticks to validate these things. Now, think about it. We've been calling dollar index bullish, and for the last 3 weeks, 3 solid weeks, we haven't left this previous high they traded into, and market has been sideways, meaning if you bought here and you closed here and you didn't do anything for 3 weeks, you're absolutely better off than someone trying to force trades within this ranges, especially if someone's trying to go for short-term trades within this range. It will be very brutal because markets were absolutely look at price action, right? So if we're going to see dollar index continue upside, we need to see them stay above this range. And now it absolutely do not mean we need them on a weekly time frame, because if they are going to be expansive this week, say let's take into consideration the fact that let's take into consideration the idea, not fact, that they could expand this week. Say we just need a daily time frame candle to stay above this level, and the subsequent day we'll just seek for a continuation off of a retest of this level into buy side. That's all. But we don't have that yet, and markets are not on the weekly time frame, are not validating a continuation. This is indecisive. It means it could go either way. It means as soon as they took a buy side here and stayed flat, we could see them return into previous weekly low, or we could see them run for buy side in coming week. So there is absolutely nothing, no way to justify any side of the marketplace except that we just watch and see how the markets are trading, right? So on the daily time frame, we're coming off of a discount. Market seem bullish. Market closed above this gap here, which is also a useful indication that the markets are willing to trade higher, right? And we are just simply going to look at how Monday trades. If you're into that kind of stuff, you see how Monday trades to see if we can stay above here, or just see if Monday stays in consolidation or something. I simply do not know what the markets are going to do, because mind you, we're keen off of a monthly level of support, and ideally if February is going to be bullish, I mean if the low of the week of the month has been set, we could see markets run absolutely, because this is a draw. I know we have this high here, this high here, this high here, and it's a trade drive apparently, and it could mean markets want to return into the range. But a market that wants to take out internal range shouldn't. I don't know. It's a bunch of mixed signals, and it's hard to interpret market structure. So that's why I'm just gonna watch to see how Monday trades. We're still bullish. Markets are keen off of, a level of support. We have buy side objective here, the previous monthly high, but ultimately we have this level here, which is the fair value gap on the monthly time frame. We have it here, and I want to share something on the daily time frame. I want to show you something, because a lot of folks would maybe be thinking that said, what about the COT agent program? You haven't talked about it in a while. And one of the reasons why I haven't talked about it is because markets are absolutely in consolidation. All right. If you want to listen to my thoughts on dollar index for 2026 price action, I think you should come here. That's the first commentary for 2026. I think you should listen to everything I said here, and it's absolutely what's currently happening in the market, right? Um, all of this run higher is obvious manipulation, because we talked about the fact that on the yearly time frame, dollar index is bearish, but there are levels we expect DXY to trade into, all right? And the level we expect dollar index to trade into is this bearish shadow block, right? And as soon as dollar index trades into the bearish shadow block, we can expect downside. At least that's my analysis, and that's what I'm still holding on to, right? And currently, market has been in consolidation, and a run higher against the hedging program is obviously in manipulation, right? It's manipulation, and all of this, and that's why we have this kind of price action, because I think the dollar is heavily bearish, and they're trying to reach for a level quickly and continue the yearly range expansion. Okay, so this is consolidation, manipulation, and range expansion. That's why I think, and that's how I think this year's price action is very likely to unfold. So we are bearish on dollar index. I'm bearish on dollar index, but this is commentary that I had since January, and this is April. So you can see, you can have your analysis, and we're 3 months into the year, and we haven't seen that range expansion as par. Dollar index has been bearish for 2026, right? And so that's data aside, but in price action, this is through drive, and market has to absolutely respect this. And that's why there's always a thin line between joining. If you do not understand how this works, or how to separate qualitative analysis from quantitative analysis, you're going to get stuck. And that's why there was a time, I think when we were talking about DXY here, I was calling down this bullish, and someone was like, can't I see COT? Can't I see market structure? Now, can't you see the same things? These markets are incredibly probabilistic, right? And that's the reason for guidance and mentorship like this, right? So we're currently in worse type of condition you want to experience. And I personally don't see any reason why I should be risking so much money where I'm likely to lose money, right? But I'm thinking, I mean, I'm hopeful about April's trading, of course. I mean, I've seen consolidations, but I've not seen this kind of consolidation because aside from the fact that it's in consolidation, look at the ranges, look at all of the ranges, small ranges, and wicks and stuff. Look at this kind of wick, it's very terrible, very, very terrible. And for the most part here, you're likely, markets will run very quickly. Very interesting. So that's dollar index. I absolutely do not know how to profile this week's range because we are off of a key level and we got to another key level, and all of the things we just mentioned last week, panned out, and it's just about waiting to see which side of the market. And one thing, I'm putting in mind is, okay, I'm bullish on monthly time frame. I'm only concerned about going long on dollar index, but I can't be long inside of this consolidation. It's too risky. All right, for myself, that's how I think it. I think it's too risky because I could take a loss because I within a consolidating range, and I need the markets to go out of consolidation and before I can assume setup, or I need markets to take out sell side liquidity somewhere. All right, so that's absolutely the only way I can belong on dollar index if we're out of consolidation or if the market takes out sell side. Okay, so I'll just assume it's a tortoise soup and look for short on euro. Now look at euro USD. Look at how price action has been. It's not encouraging at all. It's absolutely not encouraging, and it's very difficult to qualify buyers this week because you can see how this week's candle closed. It's very difficult to qualify buys, and it only means that I'll just have to be patient. Just have to wait to see how markets are trading. Now on the daily time frame, it's also very interesting. You're respecting this level here, and I mean, from the perspective of liquidity runs, you can, really talk about why they're respecting this level. You can see this high. Last week was it last week I was calling it a breaker. This very shallow block took out previous day's high here. This low took out previous day's low, and markets are respecting this level because it's high res, right? But now this level here is mitigated, and I think markets are likely to respect this one. That's if they don't see it as relatively equal low, because you can see market trade into the rejection block here, and this low took out sell side here. So this is like some transaction between opposing liquidity pools of sell side here and buy side here. So looking like market could respect this bullish on the block, and if I want to go short on euro, I have to wait for markets to take out buy side, because you can see how markets keep returning into the range, returning into the range. It's not ideal for me, right? It's not ideal for me. So I'm just gonna watch and see how euro trades, and it's even different for pound. All right, it's absolutely. This price action is very amusing because what's this? Really, what's this? But anyways, I do not know. All right, and I'm okay to settle with I do not know. If I know, I'd say something. Classic me, obviously. If I know, I'll say something. But if I do not know, it's very hard to talk about price action in this kind of market because it's a scalpers market. Ideally, my commentary is to discuss the weekly range expansion for the entire week, how the markets are likely to behave for the whole week. But if I cannot see it on Sunday, then it's very difficult to say something. But I have to say something because I want to keep the commentary going on my YouTube channel, right? So I do not know what the markets are going to do. Price action are simply difficult to interpret, and I do not want to force words more than I already did, because I believe I forced a lot of words into this commentary talking about DXY, and I don't want to put my own feelings. Okay, that's another issue. I don't want to put my feelings into my analysis, because when I do not know and I want to say something, I'd have to put my feelings. And I'm simply not trying to bend the market to my will. I think that's very weak, and that that's not competent. So So I do not know, but I think if euro for some reason has an interest here, it will be beautiful to see the market streak here for a continuation, but it's not looking like it. Okay, I promise you, it's not looking like it because we're seeing these candles here, and I'm trying to look at it from the liquidity run perspective to understand if this could serve as support, but I simply do not know. So our draw on liquidity is here, but markets are building up liquidity on buy side here. So I do not know if the only interest to run into buy side here is after they engage sell side here. Now mind the sell side here is the 3 months fair value gap. So I do not know if the interest for buy side is after they engage sell side. I simply do not know, right? And it's very difficult to qualify. So I'm just gonna leave this one here, and we're just gonna see how Monday's candle trades. Mind you, bias is bullish on DXY. That's the most important thing, I think. And to qualify longs, long-term longs, market has to stay above here. But when market runs through this high, we've made a high here, made another high here, and this will be a new high. So if this doesn't qualify for a trade drive, because I'm not trying to say the markets are out of consolidation, but ideally we should see upside if they stay above here. But once they're making a new high here, it makes it very questionable. Makes it questionable again. Except you see the early hours of maybe Asian session and see that okay, London is willing to expand, then you can engage. Or primarily just wait for New York session, because by New York session the manipulation in London is done, Asia is done, and whatever range expansion is left for New York, you can capitalize on that. That's if they haven't met some type of objective. You can see how complicated this market condition is, because I don't understand why they are engineering liquidity here. If they are unwilling to engage sell side liquidity, it means they want to run for buy side, and as soon as they meet objective at buy side, then they begin to target all of this level for internal range, because it's gonna make internal range easy if they don't take out any of these lows. Because if they don't take out any of these lows and they meet objective here, and dollar index wants to return into the range, it's very easy to reach for sell side here, breakaway gap here, and all of this nonsense, price action around here. So I hope you found this one insightful, and remember, I'm gonna leave a link in the description for my friend who is building up a journaling tool. I beg you to check it out and leave a like on the video and this commentary. And until I talk to you next week, preferably until I talk to you on Twitter. I want to post on Twitter because I haven't done that in a while. Be safe.